guys, Victoria here for Tonic Studios. Today I'm going to be sharing with you the seasonal wreath gift box, and we're going to be putting together a gift box similar to this, not in these colours. We're actually going to use some printed papers that actually come part of the set, but as you can see, this makes a beautiful dimensional 3D box. Okay, so I'm just going to guide you through the die set. I'm then going to show you all the bits and pieces that we've got. So the actual box base, as you can see, you've got different compartments here, so it's great for if you wanted to put an assortment of little treats in here. And these sections here obviously give you your sections, but they also give stability to the box. Now, to make the base, okay, we're going to need to cut 4 of this die set here. Okay, and this is for your base. You'll need to cut 4 of these sections. Those are the sections that are going to split the box off. And then you're going to need to cut 4 of the base die. Okay, so this is this one here. You're then going to cut another further 4. So in total for this die, you want to cut 8. Okay. Then you're going to need to cut 4 of this die here. And this is what makes the inner ring of this box. So you'll see we have an inner ring here. So we need to cut 4 of those. Okay. Then you'll see we've got then the lid to make. So this part here is the lid. So we would need to cut 8 of these, and all will come apparent in a moment when I show you how to make one. But 8 of these, and then you've got this lovely decorative element. Now you can either die cut this decorative element, or with this set we do have foil fusion sheets, which I'll show you in a moment, and we also have pattern papers. So here is the outer rim for the lid. Now you'll need to cut 4 of those. There is a detail die here which will cut into this die. Then I would recommend you line the inside of this die. So you'd need to cut another 4 and then trim off these little glue tabs here and line the inside of your lid. It will give a neater, snugger finish to the base of your box as well. Here you'll see a shorter one, and this is for the inner rim. So like I said before, you have a rim on the outer edge, and as you can see, we've lined it here with chocolate, so you've got that showing through. And then this is the inner rim, so you'll need to cut 4 of those. Now, as you can see here from this gorgeous lid, I've done in autumnal shades. This is part of the decorative bow. So here we have the tails, so you would need to cut 2 of those out in the detail, and then you would need to cut a backing. Okay, you then put the ribbon together via these 2 pieces here, and then you would need to cut 4 of these out. Okay, let me slide that off the sheet. So you'll need to cut 4 of these, and these bend over. Okay. You then have some decorative elements here that you can add 2, 1 at each end for each piece. All right, so you'd have 2, 4, 6 and 8 because it's decorated underneath as well. And then here you can see an array of decorative elements, this beautiful leaf design here, some smaller leaves, and this one here just blends itself to add in your gorgeous little nouveau drops, which you've just added some autumnal berries there, and then this lovely decorative element here in the gold, and then you've got leaves. Now you can see this die here, and this die here belongs to your bow, and it's very clever. because when you die cut this piece out and you'll shape it and you'll bend it, these two triangular pieces each end glue together, and then they adhere to this section and this section, and then opposite sections, and then these two outer pieces fold in to secure everything in place. And I will show you how to make that. Okay, now going through everything else that we have with it, I'm going to put this die set to one side. You can also see a smaller die here. Now you can make a quarter section box, which is just this section, okay, and you need to cut two of these out, and then two of these side pieces on one of the longer pieces, and then it makes a little quarter size box, and that would be quite nice for a little favour box. But those are all the dies, so I'm going to put these to one side and I'm going to bring in the other elements. So like I said to you, you will have some foil fusion sheets. So as you can see, you've got that beautiful element there. Okay, I've got some other bits stuck to bits here, so I'm being careful. I've then got the ribbon sections here, and then you have sections here for the floral element, and that's the center of your bow. And then there are some leaves and some florals. I have been cutting into my sheets, guys, so you'll have to excuse. But you can see you've got the lovely leaves, different shapes there, and the florals. So you will get a full set of the foil fusion. So there is more. Okay? So like I say, I've already cut into some of my sheets because I've made one and prepped one, but I will show you the patterns. So of course this is a seasonal wreath, so you're going to have in there Christmas, autumnal, everyday and Easter, and we're actually going to be putting an Easter box together today. So I'm going to put this to one side. As you can see here, we have beautiful foil tags, and aren't they stunning? Absolutely beautiful. So this is your Easter. Isn't that just adorable? I fell in love with it and I thought, oh, is it too early to show you Easter? But I just had to. I just think it's so pretty, and these are just so adorable. So of course you're going to be cutting out these sections here, which will form the top of your wreath there, and then we're going to fussy cut just these little eggs and decorate as is. And then here we've got a topper that we could either use or we can add on a card. So pattern paper on the other side, and then we have this absolutely stunning paper. Isn't that just adorable? I love all the colours, they work so well. And there we have a gorgeous stripy paper with a stitched effect. So of course you're going to get 3 of each. I've used some papers. So then we're going to go on to our summer or everyday, and I just think that is stunning. I mean, just look at those butterflies, aren't they gorgeous? So again, we have that beautiful pattern on the other side. So we have 3 of those sheets, and then we have this beautiful floral that goes with, and we turn it over and we have that fabulous striped paper. Absolutely beautiful. I've got to say, these papers have blown me away. So here we have your bows. So you've got a choice there of these 2 colours to go with those papers, and opposite we do have a beautiful pastel, like a watercolour effect, if you didn't want to use those for your bows. So again, we have 3 of those, and then we're at autumnal. Isn't that beautiful? Such stunning designs. Again, we have this. And I definitely think if we can get extras in our baskets of these papers, it's an absolute must. Because I know you'll be torn between one side and the other. So I think if you got an extra set of papers, then you're going to really be mixing and matching, and you're not going to be torn between what sheet you're going to use. So that is the autumnal. So we get 3 of those. Then we have the papers. Absolutely gorgeous, these colours. And then on the opposite side we have like the check. Isn't that lovely? Here we have the bows again, so we have a bit of yeehaw gingham, as they say, and then you've got this lovely like Hessian design natural bow, and opposite there we have that beautiful watercolour in the autumnal shades there. It's beautiful. And then, oh my days, Christmas. Look at that. Isn't that just beautiful? And there you have all your foiling in this one. This is very special. And then we turn it over and look at that paper. Absolutely gorgeous. And if you cut this down, you could make smaller cards, you could make slimline cards. You can divide that paper up. Absolutely stunning. Stunning, stunning, stunning. And then we have foiled card there with all those beautiful gold stars. And then we flip it over and we've got that fantastic gingham. Absolutely love, love, love. Because I'm a red girl, I love red. And this is right up my street. So I am itching to have a go at that. And then we have the bows again for this collection, and 3 sheets of those. So you've got beautiful foiling there, and when we flip it over we've got a lovely watercolour there. Isn't that stunning? Like stone colours with a hint of green. Really, really pretty. And then this is a sheet left from, as you can see, I've been playing, but this is from the Easter. So these are the bows for the Easter collection. So I have been having a little chop and a play with those. So we shall put those to one side, guys. And then I've gone ahead and I have prepped quite a bit ahead of time, but you'll still be able to follow what I have made. So let's tip all the ingredients out. Let's find the glue, and then we can make a start. So I'm going to do the base first, and we'll put all of these pieces to one side out of the way. So as you can see, I've put the base together. So what I've done is those single sections, so these here, I've cut 4 of those out to make the base. And then I've stuck them all together on the glue tab there. And then I've cut another 4 out. So we need 8 of these in total. And you're going to do this to both. Okay. So put that to one side. You're also needing to cut 4 of these, which are these are your sides here. And you don't want to fold this tab here. It has a score line, but I don't want you to fold it. I want you to bend with your fingers or your bone folder. I want you to shape it so it's easier to curve, but I don't want you to fold it, okay? So we're going to do the same with the inner circle. We want 4 of these in total as well. And then you're going to curve that the opposite way that one you think. Okay, so we're going to curve that so that it curves upwards and the teeth go downwards. Okay, and again, don't fold the crease line there. And what we're going to do is, you can see here already that I've applied glue to join the base together. So we're going to add this section in. Now you would have just glued all 4 together, and then started your inner ring. But I just wanted to show you, you know, that portion of it, because you don't need to see me gluing all of those together. I think you'd get quite bored, because it is a rinse and repeat kind of thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add adhesive to this glue tab here, and then I'm going to add adhesive to this glue tab here, and then I'm going to tuck one under and one over, line them up as best you can just onto that little dotted glue line there, and bring that one in there, and then just hold those until you know that they've grabbed and you're happy then to move on. Okay, so we'll do the base first, guys, and then we'll move on to the lid. Okay, just make sure that is all lined up neat, and I am going to get my trusty bone folder in there and glue that down. All right, precision folder glue glider, whatever you want to call it. So then we're going to add, and I would always say it's easier to add the inner ring first. So I'm going to add adhesive to that end tab. There we go. And then I'm going to add adhesive to this end tab. Just make sure I am in the right way. That's it. Don't want a backwards box. And then you're going to add adhesive to the bottom of these tabs as well, and I'd say wet adhesive every single bit of the way. And then I tend to find one end and glue that where it needs to be, all lined up on the score line. I'll then pinch it there from one side, so I've got one thumb on the inside and one thumb on the other side, and just hold those till you know that that has grabbed, and then you can move on, because then we want to tuck those teeth underneath like so, she says. There we go. And then we're going to bring that glue tab around there, and then we're going to put that in place also. So it's kind of pinching and tucking and getting them all in there. Like I say, you would have made your full ring first and made life a little bit easier for yourselves. But I just needed to show you how to do that, but you didn't need to see me building all of it, because like I say, it's a bit of a repetitive thing as you've gone round. So as you can see there, you've got your inner ring. And now we're going to do exactly the same, but we're going to go on the outer. So I'm going to fold all these little teeth inwards, and then I'm going to curve with my fingers, not folding that score line, and then I'm going to put glue on this tab, glue on the bottom tabs. Okay, and then we want to put adhesive on this tab. Okay, and then we kind of want to do like we did before. We want to tuck one tab in, so just line it up to that score line, making sure we're all nice and straight. Hold that until you know that you can move on to your next section. All right, there's nothing worse than moving on and then it all coming apart. And then we want to pull that in and line it up. So I'm going to bring that round so I can see what I'm doing. There we go. I'm going to tuck him in tight. Lovely. And then when you want to go over with your glue glider, your bone folder, whatever you call it, your precision folder, and I'm just pressing down over those tabs to make sure we have a secure box. And there we have that outer ring. Okay, so what we're going to do, is you're wondering where this piece is going to come in, we flip that over and then we secure that by covering all our workings up from the bottom. Okay, so that's what we'll do there. So I'm just going to add some adhesive to that base. Okay, making sure we've got plenty around the edge. It looks like a lot of glue, but I am just tickling the card. Okay, and then we want to line that up and then press that down. Okay, and then when you know it's where you want it to be, I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to press from the inside out. There we go. There we go. There we go. And then we've got a nice glued bottom there. And of course you can always go round with your fingers just to double check that you've pressed all the way round there and you're happy with it. Now we have these 4 sections, so what we're going to do is add adhesive to those glue tabs. Okay, and I will try not to get my head in the way, but I can't promise it. And then where you've got each intersecting piece, put your little separator in. Okay, and then glue that in place like so. Okay, and then work your way around till you've added all of those sections. Getting in a muddle. I apologise if I cough. I've got a tickle and I think I'm coming down with a cold, but we'll do our best not to cough. But it's one of those, you know, when you want to cough and you can't cough, makes you cough. Right, so bring that in and then press down. And this is why I like to use wet adhesive, because it does give you that little bit of wiggle room and lets you get everything in place. So we do this to all 4 sections. Okay, again down in that middle section. There we go. Don't wander off, please. There we are. There we go. And then the last section, I mean, don't get me wrong, they don't have to be spot on. They can be wherever you want them to be. You might want to give one section a slightly bigger section. It's up to you. But this is just a guide, just whilst you get it out of the instruction packet and you want to make a start. So there we go. I can actually see these being really lovely as decorative pieces, and without them actually being a box, they could be a wall hanger. They could actually fit on a nice 7x7, 8x8 card, just as a flat wreath for you to decorate upon. So that is our base done now. So I'm going to put this to one side. So as I've said, the lid is very much made exactly the same way as the base. And this is why I didn't want to do it section by section, because I probably would have sent you all to sleep. So I'm going to repeat as I did before. I'm going to put adhesive onto this glue tab here and adhesive onto this glue tab here. Okay. And I don't want to send you all to sleep. I really don't. So we'll stick that on the score lines and we'll bring that one in there as well. And then get that lined up. And then I will just go across with that bone folder just to get a firm grip on there. And then we have, like we did before, we have the inner and the outer. So this will need to be bent inwards like we did before, and then the teeth away from us. I always refer to the tabs as teeth. Okay, so glue on the glue tab, glue on the glue tab on that end there, and like we did before, we want to bring that in, tuck one end in. Very hard for you to see because my fingers are in the way, but I will show you. Just get that to grab. So we want the teeth underneath, like so. And then when you're happy where that end is, we need to bring this end out, like so, and then press down where all those little teeth are underneath. Okay, and then we want to curve this outer piece and then bring all those little teeth down. So your base is made exactly the same as your lid, just with slightly different dies. So put the glue on the little teeth, and you could line inside your box as well for an extra added element. So tuck one end in where you want it, and then just pinch it until you know you can move on. Okay, and then bring those teeth around. Find your little glue tab. Be happy with where everything's lining up. If you need to bring that a bit further in, then you do that. And I'm just keeping my finger on one end whilst I go over with my bone folder. There we go. There we go. So there we go. That's it. I'm just going to tuck that little tooth in there. And I'm just going to press down there. There we go. There we go. So we're going to repeat the same as we did before. We're going to put this top layer on. So I'm going to put glue all the way around the edge. Okay. There we go. I know on video it looks like there's a lot of glue here, but I'm tickling the glue, tickling the card. There we go. And then place that on top until you're happy with your placement. Let's move that around a bit. I'm not happy with that there. There we go. So bring that in. No, a bit out there. Let's give it a wiggle wiggle till we're happy. That's better. That is better. And then I'm just gonna glide all over that until we can move on. There we go. Now, to get a really close finish, if you're familiar with the chapeau box that we had, we lined the inside of the lid. So I have cut an extra 4 of those and cut the teeth off. Okay, and I am going to line the inside of my lid. I just feel it gives a little bit of a stronger edge, and it gives it a nicer fit. But this is optional. This is just, you know, you will make it as you make it. So I'm going to squidge that down, and I'm going to line it. So I'm going up to each section on the inside there, as you can see. Okay, and I've just done it in the same colours, but again, if you had cut the detail into the lid side, then you can go in with another colour, and that other colour will come through all the detail. Okay, but for this one I've just gone in with that pink. Just reinforces those sides and gives it a snug fit to the base. So put this next section in. There we go. So in we go, bringing it all round to meet. There we are. All right, and then the last one. There we go. And we're going to bring that round. Bring it round to meet that piece and meet that piece. There we go. And you'll feel that that's a lot more rigid now and gives it that strength. If you wanted to line the inside of there again, you could. That's up to you. But I haven't had a need to do that. So now we have the plain lid. So that strip that we've just done, and we cut the teeth off, I've done the same again with the decorative papers this time, and I'm going to go around the box with those decorative papers there. Okay, and I'm just going to give that an extra bit of va-va-voom, as they say. So we're just going to give it that little extra finish. So I am going to go from each section and then wrap that around, bringing it to the bottom there. I just think it gives that nice little finish around the edge. So all the pieces are different. They're from that stripy paper. You've got eggs on one side and stripes on the other. But because the top has got all the eggs, I thought, well, we'd go for a stripe on this one. So again, making sure that all those pieces meet with one another. Okay, and then again, but I'm sure you'll have lots of paper in your stash at home that you'll think, oh no, I've been saving that paper, but that would work really well for this project. I think we all have a tendency to keep hold of some special papers that one day we know we're going to have a use for, but we're not quite sure what that occasion is for until it arrives. And then we add this piece here, wrap it around there, and it meets beautifully from one side to the other with no gaps, which is what we like. So now we've got that lovely edge all the way round. Okay, and then we've done the same for the inner circle. So we've cut those and we've cut the tabs off again. So this is just going to go on the inner rim. Again, lining up with the line there and then bringing that in. Now you could kind of do this before you add your outer rim, I guess, if you wanted just to do all the inner bit and then do the outer bit. It's up to you. So we're going to add those now. There we go. And we're not going to be adding any flowers to this one. I really want you to see the beauty of the papers because they are absolutely stunning. Our Jodie at Tonic HQ is, well, everybody is amazing at Tonic HQ, but Jodie, you've done an amazing job with these, my love. Absolutely beautiful. And you should see what she's making at the moment. Oh my days. You're in for a treat. Every year I say it, and every year it gets better and better and better. There we go. And we're going to bring that in there. There we go. Now, so we've got a nice ring on the inside, we've got a nice ring on the outside. So let's put that to one side. We have cut the decorative elements. Aren't they beautiful? So all we're going to do is we're going to add adhesive to the glue tab. And we're going to glue each section, creating another ring. Now, you didn't have to add the two pinks together if you didn't want to, if you knew you were going to be adding this floral element, but I think it does add strength to the box if you do. But it is personal preference. Okay. And then this last section, we're going to add the adhesive there and add the adhesive there. And then we're going to tuck one under, like so, and one over, like so. And they meet up beautifully. Okay. And we let them dry. So whilst they're drying, we will put the bow together. Okay. So we're going to go for a really big loop-de-loop, de-loop-de-loop. And I think our Jen's done 2 loops on one of her bows, but this one I'm going for 4. So we're just going to shape and curve that, and then I'm adding adhesive to this tip, and then going to go tip to tip and then pinch them together. Okay. Now, if you were adding the decorative elements to them here, I'd always pinch and push on this edge so that they don't become too pointed. They become more round. So just bear that in mind if you're doing a detailed die cut for these. The papers just round themselves beautifully. But when you're adding the double layer of the detail die, just needs a little tease so that they don't become too rigid looking. They're just going to look lovely and natural. So again, pinching those 2 together, and then another 2 pieces. All right. So there is a nice lavender lilac-y purpley shade bow with this as well, so you could have pink or the lilac. So we've gone with the pink today. So again, just pinch them, and then the last one, there we go. So pinch those together like that. Now I've done this out of the same pink as the box, but just to show you. So you'll see here you've got 2 score lines, so you need to just crease and then double crease, and when it folds it'll have like a little hinge. Okay, so you need to do that on both pieces, both ends. You see how you've got like a little spine. Okay, so I tend to turn him over, and you'll see each intersection. You want the 2 at each side. So I'm going to get one of the bow sections, I'm going to add adhesive just to that tiny little section, and I'm going to place one in that section there where it indicates, and just hold it till you know when you can let go. Okay, I will repeat the same again on all 4 pieces. This time I'll leave it on the desk because it's easier to press down and hold in place, so you've got something sturdy to press against. I'm going to repeat the same on the other side. So again, look for that little diamond shape and press down, and then we're going to do the same again on this last piece, and we're going to press that in place there, and just hold those until you know that they've grabbed. Okay, I'm then going to let them dry a second. Now my tails, I don't like my tails like this, I like them quite close together. So I'm just going to place one over the other, and I'm going to have them just like that, just like a slice of cake out the middle. Okay, and then I'm going to fold these sections then inwards. So you want to add adhesive to this side of the glue tab, and then you want to fold that inside, and then you want to repeat on the opposite side the same. So you add adhesive on that side, fold it inwards, and then that will lock everything in place. Okay, just like that. And then we're going to have that lovely pretty side facing us. We have cut a detail piece that matches from the papers. There's your little piece for the middle, so we're going to place that on top so everything is matching. Okay, isn't that gorgeous? And then we're going to place this on the top of our tails there. So I'm just going to move that because I've just smudged it with my finger. There we go. I'm going to add adhesive to the back of that tab, and then I'm going to line it up with the top of my tails, just like so. There we go. And there's your beautiful bow. So I'm going to put that to one side. I'm going to turn this over, and we're going to place our beautiful decorative element there on top of our box. All right, and then I'm going to add the bow. I'm going to add some little Easter eggs, because I guess really after Christmas this is the next thing we're thinking of, isn't it? Really, Valentine's, Easter, spring cards. These are the days we'll be looking forward to again, won't they? So let's put that down there. Make sure we're all lined up. wandered a little bit there. But you will be taking your time. You'll be doing yours in real time. Well, I'm doing this in real time, but you'll be taking your time with your gluing and your sections. And then we're going to roughly then decide where we'd like this bow to be. And I would quite like my bow around about there, I reckon. Let me have a look now. Where would I like it? Would I like it there? Oh, I can never make my mind up, can I? I think I'm going to have it there. So I'm going to add adhesive again. And I'm not putting it down with a foam pad. I am just putting it down there. I don't want it all the way down to the... I don't want it all the way to the top, and I don't want it all the way down to the bottom. I want it in the middle. So we're going to have it about there. And then I'm going to get some foam pads on the situation. So let's get some scissors. And right. So I'm going to have these foam pads at an angle there, and then I'm going to pick that one and that one. So again, foam pads at the angle. Let's take those off. So I think I'm going to have that one there, that one there, and I think that is too big to go in the middle there, although we could cut that one out, I guess, but I think I'm going to leave that there. I think I'm going to leave it at that. So I probably, with these sections and bits that are left, I will either add to a gift tag, so I could have a gift tag on this box, or that's a card. So it's up to you. I mean, you could actually put a base in to your box, as in you could put a solid ring at the bottom, and you could have your little Easter chicks, your Easter bunnies in the centre there, and you could make a little shaker with it with some acetate. Or like I say, you could add a gift tag or a card to this, and it would all be matching. And you could go ahead and add some little Nouveau drops and the bits of glitter, which I will probably go ahead and highlight it a little bit more. But that is the beautiful, beautiful set that we have today in the seasonal wreath gift set. So if this takes your fancy, or anything on the Tonic Studio website, then head on over to the website and fill your boots. As you'll see here, we have the Easter one, we have the autumnal one here made previously, and there's another one at Tonic HQ that I've done with the Christmas theme. But I just think they're an absolutely stunning gift box for any occasion. So I'd just like to say thank you very much for joining me today, and happy crafting!